Hey everybody, welcome back for our part 2 of
Yeah.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night playthrough video game book club, which is our third game of this year. Second game of this year? Third game of this year?
Third game this year.
Yep. And I'm excited to talk about it. I have...
No, second.
Second?
Duchamp was our first game of the year.
Sean was just
You
two.
didn't pick one? Okay. I thought maybe you picked one first. All right, so there you go.
No, I did.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
the problem is that we technically started it. Yeah, I'm getting it all mixed up. Yeah,
Yep, you're
it's
third.
because of the
Don't-
way we
don't mess me
recorded
up.
it. We had
Don't
that in
mess
the
me up.
bag for a little bit. Yes, this is the third one. As far as the
So-
viewers are concerned,
Yes.
it is the third one.
Before I pass this over to Preston, this is not an official request, but I have been asked this question, so I'm going to make it a thing. As we give our rating later on this game, per listener and sometimes host Travis McComas from Nerds with Mics, he asked, how does it compare to Lords of Shadow?
Yeah.
So we will, as we give our ranking tonight, let's also make sure we include how we feel about it comparing to Lord of Shadows.
Got
Okay,
the
that's
name
easy.
Belmont in it.
Easy peasy. So with that, Preston, I'll pass it back over to you to take us away.
Yeah, part two, the finale. We did go a little bit into what we're going to talk about in part two because we all wanted to see Alex's wonderful reaction to what happens when you get the quote-unquote good middle ending, which is...
Spoilers, he wasn't happy.
Yeah, spoilers. He was very upset. So, as we have gotten both those rings and the holy glasses from Maria, we take our happy little ass all the way back up to Richter at the top of the castle, which, by the way, you guys have mentioned how much you hate those Medusa heads. I didn't really know what you're talking about because I did not go into this clock tower area until the very end. Like, I told you there was one of those bosses I didn't meet. Like, it was... because all those bridges are falling down, and I didn't get the bat until I get there. But now, as I'm going back up there to go after Richter, I do go through this section. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly the part that we're talking about. That sucks. So it took a little while to get through that. I finally got through that
part
section.
sucks.
Part sucks.
Let me just-
Medusa heads suck
so-
in general, period.
My phone, I'm using my phone as a camera right now, so I don't have my text messages up, and my iPad is like downstairs or something. Otherwise, I would read my
prepared.
message thread that I sent to you guys, because I
I'll pull it up. Hold on.
beat the first half, right? And I know it come down upside down, and I'm like, all right.
So
let's
we're not
read
going into the
first
upside
place-
down castle just yet.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about right now?
I was going to. I was going to
give it a minute. Let me
We'll talk about it.
reverse
We'll talk
schedule.
about it in a second. It is the first place I go. So I hated the clock tower coming through because
Second way around is even worse.
because the Medusa heads, like, they come in weird angles, and sometimes even when you're trying to slice, they're like going under your shit and they miss and they freeze you. The second time, oh boy,
Yeah, I sent a text for that one as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I got your text queued up, Alex. So when he
Hold on
gets
to it.
there,
Hold on
we
to
can
it.
talk about it.
So we get up there. I didn't realize where the scene starts, so my character Alucard goes in without the glasses on at first. I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Put my glasses on real quick after he gets done talking, but this is kind of the dialogue that goes through it. I'm going to go through this dialogue because there's not a whole lot of dialogue in this game. I want to kind of give you guys, for those who are not playing and kind of following along with us, what's going on. So you go up to fight Richter. He says, I've been waiting for you. Alucard says, answer me. Why is a Belmont planning the resurrection of Count Dracula? Richter says,
you're
Count
putting
Dracula
so
rises...
much more emphasis than the actors do.
I know. I'm trying to, cheese it up. Count Dracula rises but once every century, and my role is over. If I can resurrect him, then the battle will last for eternity. This is when you start fighting him. If you have the glasses on, you will see a little glowing orb, a green orb right above him. That's what you're supposed to fight and take down. It goes down pretty quickly. This is where Shaft arrives. He's like, you've defeated me, but all is not yet lost. The resurrection of Count Dracula is at hand. And this is where we get the cutscene to where Alex gets really upset because it shows a sky opening up with another castle coming down. This one is upside down. Richter says,
Tips
no!
touch.
What have I done? Maria comes running in. Thank you, Alucard, for saving Richter. Richter again. Alucard, the same who fought alongside my ancestor Trevor Belmont? That was over 300 years ago. Alucard says, there's no time for talk. Is the
person...
person...
So anyway, let's go.
Yeah, no time for talk. Is the person who controlled you in the castle over there? Yes, I think so, Richter says. Alucard, Maria, take Richter and leave here. I'll finish this. All right, good luck. And this is where we take the teleporter to the bottom/top of the new upside-down castle as we battle the way through. We'll have a halfway point in here, but if we want to start talking about at least that fucking Medusa and... I forget what those like covered or cloaked knights. I think is what those. So the Medusa heads are doing the Medusa heads.
So hold on before Christian reads this. Don't read it yet. Let me just say, because I knew I was at the end, right? Because I didn't quite finish it and I was there. I went to a guide and pretty much went back and got any of the important things that I missed.
Okay.
So I was going into the second part with, I believe, like, as max health as you could get. I don't know what happened. Me and the guide I was watching were, like, 1 HP off. He had one more than me, which doesn't make any sense, because, like, when you get those... Maybe, I was saying, because when you get the items, like, you know, they're the same. So I was going in there 1 off of him, but max, like, everything, including the important items. The thing that pissed me off most about this Upside Down was the fact that I guessed how dumb it was going to be before I saw it. Right? I didn't even know. I just said it to you, Christian, like, oh, what happens? It comes upside down, some bullshit. And it was. That's very frustrating. Yeah, I guess. But the first place I went was the clock tower that induced this text message rage early in the morning. So I was, like, traveling to Chicago or something.
So he sends a photo of his Steam Deck, and it's him in the tower. And he goes, in the clock tower part, and he goes, this part is legitimately unfun. I'm about to not even give a shit about this game anymore. I had made it to the top to get out, went through the door, sword dude hit me as I loaded in, and it knocked me back through. Everyone respawned, knocked me all the way down to the bottom. 6 of those sword guys just went between sword strikes and Medusa heads with me in the bottom corner, and it took me from 200 hearts all the way to 0. Fuck this whole section. Then he used to tell you, oh, and then the Frankenstein monster that I thought was a boss that was just unkillable. After fighting him for 3 minutes and jumping over his death roll, he went into an unending death roll where after, and I shit you fucking not, if I could have recorded it here, I would have. He did 2 straight minutes of rolls. I got bored and stood there to strike him, and he just killed me. It goes, it's early, and I'm probably just irritated at 5 a.m., but oh boy, am I quickly losing interest. And then immediately following, oh, and don't get me fucking started on every ledge just being 1 pixel too high to double jump, so that it's like, okay, here, do your power jump, but I'm like, no. It's so fucking slow. I don't want to crawl through this castle. I want to play and fight, but the game is like, no, motherfucker, you go at my pace. And it was, oh, and I just had a steward sass me. Wait. No, okay,
that was the plain stuff.
That's plain stuff.
So I thought, I just wanted to say, like, the Medusa part there, I literally was like 280 hearts, and I loaded through. And here's the thing that pissed me off about it, is I watched the guy in the guide do the same thing. He loaded through, and the little knight would, like, just whoop to the left and booped him back through. And he got out of it, but, like, I just watched my heart just go ding. And the problem is, like, because I'm powered up, when they're hitting me, they're not taking, like, 15 health. It's like 2, 3, 1, 2, and I'm just watching it slowly take down as I can't move because I'm going between frozen and bumped backwards. I was pissed.
So I had the same problem. So this part of it is really just a vertical way going up, go through the door, go back down and left, and you're out of that section. Like, it's not super big. So, but you're trying to get up, and, you know, you can do the double jump. And then I try to, just jump up a couple times, hit the bat form, try to get up as much as I can until I get hit, and then you hopefully fall on something that's not too far down.
Yeah, because they break your bat, and then you just fall down when they break bat.
So I get up, I get through it, I go down, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to just jump down and fall down. I'm like, just get through it, go down. I don't care if I hit something, I don't care. I'm on the other side, we just need to go down. And you go to the left to the door. As soon as I crawl up to that door, a Medusa head spawns at the door. Knocks me back a little bit, freezes me in stone, because I used my, anti-stone potion, where the fuck it was, right before I got into it. By the time I'm in that second room, that's gone. I think it's like resist stone. So I get knocked back, and the same thing that happened to Alex happened to me. You get wombo comboed by those cloaked knights and Medusa skulls. There's nothing you can do because there's so many of them, and it just sucks. It just sucks, and you die.
The picture I got wasn't even a good picture because the one I wanted to get, because they're going up and down. The one I wanted to get was literally like 7 knights and nothing but Medusa heads, and I was just like, God,
a bunch of them in there.
Can I say so for me, the only solace I had was that because I finished it before you guys, the only solace I had was that as I would go through a truly frustrating section that I hated, I would finish it and then I go, I can't wait for them to go through it. Like every single time I was like, the only reason I'm not more angry is because I know there's 2 other people that are going to have to go do this right behind me.
Yep. So we're kind of going through. We can kind of talk about a couple more of the rooms, but I do kind of want to mention this one part. As we're battling through the castle, we do arrive upon Death. He's one of the bosses. He says, "So if you made it this far, in the name of your father, cease this foolishness." Alucard says, "Not while there is breath in my body." Death says, "Then for the master, I'll feast on your soul this night." There's where you'll fight Death. As far as this, before getting to Dracula and that whole area, we are essentially looking for 5 pieces of Vlad. Off the top of my head, I think it's like the ring, heart, eye, finger, and ribs.
Yeah, I found something really early on, and I forget what it was.
So yeah, I
think it's the ring that you can find.
The first boss you run into if you're going that left way is actually either way, because if you go right, you hit the Medusa. If you go left, you hit somebody else. But those will all have one. Those have a piece of Vlad, because I guess they wanted like, hey, here's a Vlad piece. You're gonna face other bosses, and you're not gonna get Vlad pieces, so you're gonna know that you're gonna need more. Every one of those bosses that have the Vlad piece is an original Castlevania boss. So any of the bosses that are new, they're not going to have those Vlad pieces. I didn't realize this because I didn't look up a guide until like later on in this section. I think I had like one more piece of Vlad, and I'm like, I just want to know how far I got to go, what other things I need, just to make sure, because I knew I was wrapping it up. But beforehand, I'm like going through all these bosses, and I'm like, I'm not getting any more pieces of Vlad. There's a whole lot of bosses in here. And when I go to finally look up the map, I see there's so many bosses in this upside down dungeon. Like, it's almost damn near every single other room. I did not have a problem with pretty much any of these bosses, except for one.
Neither did the guy I watched on the fucking YouTube video.
So I shit you not, until I got Alucard's sword, I used that combat knife, that combat dagger. It is broken how fast you can hit with that. Because, like, sure, it's not doing as much damage as the other weapons are, but I'm able to hit the enemy, like, for 6 times before you can, like, hit them 2 times with another, like, the broadsword or something. So, like, most of my battles are me walking up to the boss and going, like a fucking Alucard's a psychopath going through this entire castle, just stabbing the shit out of everybody. But he got me through it.
I used the Holy Sword, which worked really well.
Okay. So they're all, probably demonic. Yeah.
But here's the other thing I was talking to Christian about. It wasn't in my text message. All of a sudden, in the Upside Down, the mechanics you use to get through the first part, so like all of the, like the holy water. I told you guys I use the holy water. Just chuck them as fast as possible. In the Upside Down, when you get in here, the game just decides that no longer is viable. It just doesn't work. And you're like, well, why doesn't it work? And they're like, I don't know.
It doesn't do as much damage.
Just have full-on resistances now. Yeah. Like, sometimes fire does... Like, there would be times where I would try to do spells against people, and it'd be like, this enemy is strong against fire, and you can't use fire damage. It's like, ugh, okay.
That was that Frankenstein guy. Like, I just was like, I don't know what to do, so I was throwing the holy water, and as he's, like, spinning in his death roll, it would hit him. Like, you would see it. It would be, like, checking off damage, and he just did not care. Like, I ran through all of it, and I'm just like, thank you.
That before we went any more bosses, does anybody, like, the whole castle being upside down, did that, like, fuck with anybody's, like, head? Like, not just, like, I don't know where to go, but, like, not queasy, but there's, like, something uneasy about, like, myself, especially in that first half, to where it's just, like, I don't like doing this. For some reason, the map's being upside down, and, like, obviously upside down,
I'll tell you,
my brain hated it.
I'll tell you why you don't like it.
I just thought it looked aesthetically worse.
Yeah, I'll tell you why you don't like it. Because it was bad. They literally just... seriously, they were like, hey, you know how you were jumping around? Well, this time your option is to power jump up or bat form, both of which are slower options than any other option, but we're going to have you do it anyway. But it's okay, because we're going to put all items in the exact same place, including breakable walls. So, like, even though there's new items, everything you remember is still here, so it's not that challenging, it's just slow.
So the one thing I really didn't
So
like
have
about
fun.
this Upside Down Castle was that there was no librarian in it. So me thinking, oh, I got a library card, and here I'm like, shit, let's just go to the librarian in this Upside Down dungeon.
Fuck, nope, it warps you straight back to the old
The original
one.
dungeon. I'm like, oh no, and like, so I did end up like going from the librarian. Like, okay, this is the only stop I'm going to librarian. I wish I kind of went back more because maybe I could get more potions and stuff like that. But like, to be fair, I didn't need it at that point. So I went back and did the trek again. Luckily, there's a thing close to Richter, and I just had to do the whole fucking going through that Medusa section again, which I was not happy about. But yeah, I wish there was a librarian in the Upside Down Castle. Like, have him upside down. I don't fucking care. Like, maybe I'm like a boss, maybe that you have to fight a little bit, but.
I guess, God, especially me who usually bitches about continuity shit and other stuff, I guess theoretically it makes sense because he could only be in one place at one time. So like,
Or
if
have a
the
second
Newcastle came
librarian.
that would just be him going like, I'm gonna go to my better office upstairs.
Or maybe a different librarian.
Like
a librarian of the Upside Down that has different items.
And
stuff
now
like
I have
that.
an upside down face.
Yeah. So.
all of my books are falling out of the shelves. Damn it!
Yeah.
So I did write down a couple more spots. So as far as, obviously the Knights in the Medusa room suck. There's a one also area that I kept on getting fucking wrecked in was, it's a low ceiling area. I guess it's in the cave spots because there's some water here. But you'll have these rock knights who are throwing rocks, but also you'll have the plant ladies. And because the room has such a low ceiling, you can't get past the plant ladies like little like barbs that come up. So I had a hell of a time just trying to get some of those ladies to die because I couldn't get close enough to them to hit them. I didn't have any of like ranged weapons on me. Or I probably had some items I could have used, but like I didn't want to waste them on
The
those
spells,
guys.
brother.
I didn't fuck around with spells.
I texted Christian. I'll say this now too because I don't just while I'm thinking about it. That was the other thing that frustrated me about this entire jaunt, and I think I texted Christian one off on this, which was the bestiary, right? Which was like in the first part you have skeletons, and in the second part you have skeletons with helmets. And like in the first part you have like big dudes that like throw axes either down low or up high. In the second one you have like big dudes that shoot laser beams but like down low or up high. In the first one you have like plant ladies that are like albeit sexier skin tone. And the second one you have plant ladies that are just like green, but they're the same green. But like, and then like in the first one you have like knights on horses, and the second one you should have knights on wolves. Like, what? Everything's the same but different, and not different for like mechanical like let's enhance the game's sake. It's just different to be like our bestiary is freaking huge, and like, oh, you thought you saw everything, but no, we just have more things
It's a second
of
castle.
stuffs.
Yeah, it's a different castle, man.
I mean, I guess.
I did have some
Sure.
notable bosses here. Again, like I said, I was just kind of flying through all these bosses. Like, there's a point on text Chris, I'm like, I'm kind of flying through this. Outside of like a couple spots, flying through it. Galamoth is probably the hardest boss in the entire game. He is taller than the screen that you're looking at. And I know that Christian had this. I'm assuming the same thing happened to you, Alex. So what you do is you run up to him real quick, you try to hit his legs, and he ends up doing something, and one of those legs kick out. And it kicks you into his little laser rod or something like that. I kept on going over and over and over again. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get to him? Because it's not letting me hit him. He keeps on pushing me away. I noticed that there's a platform, like right in the middle section.
This is the one you cheated, yeah?
Yes. So there's a little platform right there in the middle section. I jumped up on that one and then kind of jumped behind him. There's a platform behind his head. He'll turn around at you, but you're hitting the head and he stuns. So he can't do any action. So every time you hit the head, he just does this. So I'm just sitting there striking him and he's not hitting me. He's not doing anything. He's just taking it. And I was looking at that guy has like the largest health out of any boss, even Dracula. So it took a while to do it, but luckily if you get back behind there, he can't do anything, so he doesn't hit you. So I went through that not second try, but like after a bunch of tries, when I figured that out, it was very easy to take him down.
Did you figure that out, or did the guide show you that was possible to you?
No, I didn't use the guide.
No judgment either
no,
way.
I mean,
I use the guide
I use the guide at the very last fourth of the game. When it was
I used the guide the whole fucking second part. Like as soon as I went back, I was like, nah, fam. The only thing, guide is here now.
Yeah,
it's here to stay.
I feel you. That's why I felt like right towards the end, where it's like, okay, I don't want to sit here and like have this map scrape. Like, show me where the other boss is, and then we'll go after that. And then I had the map pulled up because I don't know if you can buy a map from the librarian as far as the Upside Down Castle, or if you can get a map at all for the Upside Down Castle. So I just straight up pulled it up.
I don't think so. I think you have to go through it like normal.
I pulled that shit up on my phone, man. Like I'm like, fuck this. Like I need a map. Like I'm not doing this. Like I need a map. So I just pulled the map so that way I can see, where Alucard's sword is, stuff like that. To like, okay, I want the sword and the shield, and then I want to make sure you got all the bosses, not all the bosses, but the bosses who have the Vlad stuff.
I was so angry.
What
at
a
times.
fucking prick that Death has to be, by the way, to take all of your shit, go to an alternate dimension, and then scatter it throughout the Upside Down Castle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was so irritated at times that I found myself arguing with the guide. Right? So like I would get into a room like the Frankenstein monster is a good one. Well, it's not even... No, it doesn't. Like, the Frankenstein one's a good one. There's a couple other bosses where, like, I would get into there, and I would watch the guy, and he would kill it. I would get in, and I would die. And I'd watch the guy again, and he would kill it. I'd be like, oh, really? Is that all you have to do? Like, you just hit it 4 times, he's dead? Like, I was pissed the whole time.
The Frankenstein boss, like, I walk up to him, and I just do my combat not like crazy, and he maybe got a swing out of me. Like, that's the story for most of the bosses for me.
The second time I did it, I think third time, whichever. Like I did it to the point where I did almost wonder like if something was glitched because he just went into like an unending death roll, right? Sure. Which like when I watched the guide, he rolled like 2 times and the player was just like my butt dead. And I was like, what the?
Some weird circumstance keeps him going.
Who knows?
I guess.
Yeah, who knows?
Medusa gave me a little bit of trouble because she kept on freezing me up.
So hold on, I want to talk about Gorbat. So that one, the tall boss, that motherfucker.
You were very upset about that.
I was. He's easily the most frustrating boss that I've ever played in.
It's that health, man, and he takes up the entire screen.
I want to say it's if not recent memory in like most video games that I've ever played. Like I'm trying to think of like a time that I was just looking at the screen and being like, I'm really frustrated. Like this just feels stupid. Like, and one of the times was because I got caught in between his legs, and the way that the animation works, like, is you can just get bounced. Like your like Alucard's just sitting there getting just like a fucking ping pong ball, and it's just you're just watching 50, 60, 50, 60, 50, and you're just like, dude, what are we doing? Like what is actually like what's happening? Like. And when I finally killed him, like he fell down, and it wasn't like a sense of like, yeah, I did it or whatever. I literally was looking at the screen, and I was like,
fuck you.
I pulled up the map, and I was like, I have to find a save room immediately.
I'm not doing that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like he's awful. I agree with you for the most part that most other bosses like it was you just walk through them. Like it was like they show up on the screen, you do it, and you're like, I think that was a boss. Like, you're not even sure.
Yeah,
but
Medusa,
that dude...
Yeah, Medusa would get me a couple times because she just, like, stone me and then get me stopped.
Yeah.
There was another one that I thought was a really cool boss that did take me a little bit because there's 3 of them. So there is one section, I think it's right before Medusa, to where you can go up against Fake, Grant, Trevor, and Sypha. I thought that was a cool boss battle because I was like, oh, a couple of the old Castlevania guys are going up against, like, their dark versions, their evil versions, I guess. And then as I was going through it, I was killing, Trevor and Grant because they're on the ground. And then Sypha ends up, like, resurrecting the other 2 if, like, you haven't killed her by the time. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I thought that was a really fun boss. Like, especially if you're a fan of, like, the old Castlevanias. I'm sure that was a kind of a cool nod. Yeah, we're going through, we're gathering up pieces of Vlad. They're the OG bosses. And then after we get those 5, we go back to where we came to with the rings. The clock tower will open up again, and this is where we go up to face Shaft and Alucard. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add about the dungeon in general before we get to the final boss?
No, I'll save it for my final thoughts.
Yeah, I will say, the only thing I will say is, like, I think, I just want it to be known when I sent the Shaft gif of, like, his name is Shaft, while funny, I thought was incredibly stupid. It actually, like, when he said it was Shaft, it actually took me out of the play. Like, you have Dracula, like, you're talking, Vlad, you have Alucard, you have all these names that you know, right? And, like, Shaft, you also know, but not in relation to Castlevania. So I was immediately yanked out of this thing going, like, why did you have to give this guy the dumbest name?
I didn't look it up. Christian, do you know if there's a reference to Shaft in the previous Castlevanias?
I have no idea.
Okay. So I didn't look it up. I know he's a sorcerer and stuff like that, or I think he calls himself something else. I have it in the notes here. But yeah, I think the only thing I can add to that is that I did end up switching to Alucard's sword because it is a faster sword. It does a little bit more damage. And then I just kind of stuck with that the remainder. So did you guys, what weapons were you going through the dungeon with? Like, what was like your main?
All of Alucard's gear.
All of Alucard's gear? Okay, same.
For the most part, I was using the chakram because it having a range on it was extremely helpful. And it would hit like once going through and then once coming back, so that was nice. But as soon as I found all of Alucard's gear, I was using Alucard's gear.
I never changed from swords the entire... Other than the one time I had the mace
Shield
or whatever
rod.
in the early part, the shield rod, out of all the weapons that I collected, I only ever used swords. I'm sure some others were pretty cool.
So I was watching a speedrun, and the shield is apparently the OP weapon to use for that. I don't know how he does it.
Shield rod.
I didn't look at it, but if you get Alucard's shield, like he's at a point to where he would just pull out his shield in front of enemies, and you just see like 200 like just like go like crazy like the combat knife would. I couldn't figure out how to do that section. I didn't have the shield rod, but there's a lot of things in that speedrun that I noticed. For example, Christian, you were talking about how you like the dog run, but it's obviously you have to be on a horizontal plane. As far as flat ground, I saw that he was pretty much doing what you want to do with the bat, to where there is a button press or like a move within the bat that causes it to like keep your momentum. So you can use the bat to just like fly across levels as well.
Is that a glitch or is it an actual dash that the bat can do?
I think
I don't know,
it's a
Christian. They don't
glitch.
put anything. They don't put anything in the game as a guide, so there's no way to know. Literally no way to know.
Pretty sure it was some of a glitch. Like he does something between that. He explained it to
then
me,
that
but I
doesn't.
can't
I mean,
remember.
yeah.
It was a GDQ run. You can look it up if you want to. And then what else was there? So I didn't use any magic, but I did remember Christian mentioning that. So I think it was either with the 3 people, the fake people, or it was with Medusa, to where I found out a move that helped me with the last boss, Dracula. So quarter circle attack, quarter circle forward attack. Has this really dope move to where he does this like little red like invisible dash. He'll do a couple attacks and he invisible dashes back to where that spot you started that attack on.
Yeah.
Those are all invisibility frames, or invincible frames.
Every spell. Yep.
So that after a couple tries of Dracula, I ended up using that, and that kind of saved me. But that's the only like combo move, if you will. Like it's something that I didn't have written down, or something that wasn't like just a basic move. That was the only like extra piece. Did you use anything other than the Hellfire move later on, Christian?
No, the spirit one.
Spirit one?
It's like up down, or it's down up, and then whichever way you're facing, and then attack, and it summons like multiple. You can get an upgraded version that summons multiple spirits, but it summons one little spirit and it goes around, and then will attack something twice and then leave.
Gotcha. So do you use any skills or any of those like magic?
The sword, the little talky sword that flew
Oh,
around.
the
As far as
sword
like
card?
the magic stuff, no, I didn't use any of the magic shit. Just couldn't figure it out. Fuck off. Also,
Use the guide. I
Christian,
figured I'd ask.
no, because the guide was the dude playing. He wasn't saying what I'm about to do here is hit blah blah blah. No, I never figured it out.
I mean, I told you too.
Other than up down jump was the only thing I figured out. So the bat is not a glitch. It's just one of the relics. It says you turn into a bat, hold down the X button. This is an example on game packs. Let's say you're facing to the right. While the X button is being held, quickly spin the directional buttons counterclockwise all the way around. Start with the up button, left, down, right. Do it all in one motion and do it fairly quickly. Then let go of the X button, and there goes the bat dashing across the screen.
And that's
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
Of course you didn't know that.
yeah,
There's no way
it's
to
a
know
little bit
that.
involved, but sure.
I mean, you just hold X and then just bloop, like the way you're going and let go. But
I just mean like it's involved in like it's ridiculous that you would have to go through those steps. I should just be able to press.
it's
a button and
obtuse.
dash, but
It's very obtuse. Yeah.
All right. Well, getting on to the final battle, we go into the same area that she gives us the holy glasses in. We find Shaft there. You have all done well.
Alex' favorite character.
Yes, exactly. Alex's favorite character. You have done well in making it this far. I would expect no less from the son of our master. Alucard says, so you're not the one who is controlling Belmont? Or, so you are the one who's controlling Belmont. Yes, I am the Dark Priest Shaft. This world must be cleansed in the Forge of Chaos. Why did you make Belmont lord of this castle? For centuries, vampire hunters have defeated evil with holy power. But if two vampire hunters were to fight each other... But Belmont's power is supreme among vampire hunters. None other could defeat him. Exactly. That's why I removed him as a threat by making him lord of this castle. But your plan failed. Has it indeed? We'll see what happens after I destroy your weak human side. And this is where you fight Shaft. Yes, Alex?
This is where I said the writing is bad, and you said, no, it's the actors suck. And I said, no, the writing is bad. Because it was that, one of those lines specifically, where it was like, oh, if I make two vampire hunters fight each other, that's stupid. Like, your answer there is, you're the one controlling Belmont. Yes, because he's the strongest, so if I put him in this castle, no one can defeat him, and I can bring back Dracula. Hard period, moving on. But if I have two fight each other, and you're just like, that doesn't even logistically make sense, right? Because then you're actually opening up the chance that we're in this situation. It's so dumb. But again, the writing is just like, it's just bad.
It's not great.
It's bad.
So you fight Shaft, who is essentially sitting in a little magical orb with things floating around it. Those orbs can bounce around and hit you, and then he ends up doing some electrical orb attack. By the time that first orb attack happens with this sort of electrical stuff, this is where I kind of get him close to death or finish him off. So from there, you'll hit him, you'll destroy him, and you get the, oh, no! You tell, as Alucard, you say, you claim to love the darkness. Go then, and dwell there for all eternity. But my goal is achieved. Count Dracula is come to purify this corrupt world with the searing flames of chaos. Yeah, you like that, Alex? Count Dracula is come to purify?
It's so ridiculous.
I wrote these down word for word just to make sure we had all the impurities.
So ridiculous.
Thank God.
Yeah. So he ends up vanishing, and the eye behind us opens up, covers everything in darkness, until we fade back in, and Dracula does as well on his throne. Father!
You're doing so much credit to this game with your voice acting.
With my voice acting? You think I should just do a
Yes.
mod and just have it, be mine?
You should. You should.
Father, well met, my son. It's been a long time. Alucard, I was hoping we would not see each other again. I can't allow you to leave here, Father. You have ever been the ally of humans. Have you forgotten what they did to your mother? Alucard says, think you I would forget such a thing? No, but neither do I seek revenge against them. Dracula, still uttering the same nonsense, no matter. Now is the time to put aside your weak human side and join me in the remaking of this world. Alucard says, Dracula, in the name of my mother, I will defeat you again. And then this is where Dracula turns into this giant-ass winged monster with multiple heads and limbs.
It was cool.
Even one of the wings was like a sexy lady wing. Like, the arc of the wing that goes up, it's like just a lady. But a lot of those heads look like the alien from the movie's heads. look very much like those. So this is where you fight him. It took me a good handful of times to beat him. Once I found out that little quarter circle attack, I would just do a couple hits in, do that attack, so that way none of his hits would hit me. He maybe hits me once. I go back into that combo, try to do it as quickly as possible to keep my invincibility up, and then I do finally take him down. Go back whence you came. Trouble the soul of my mother no more. How? How is it that I have been so defeated? You have been doomed ever since you lost the ability to love.
Fucking owned incel.
Got him. Fucking got him. Motherfucker, literally.
Maidenless. Absolutely maidenless.
And bitchless.
Sarcasm. For what profit is it to man if he gains the world and loses his own soul? Matthew 16:26, I believe. Alucard literally just does ellipses and stares at him like, are you seriously quoting a Bible from me, you fucking evil guy?
It's, dude,
but also,
the part where Alucard says ellipsis is the only time that I felt during this entire playthrough where I said, same, bro.
Yeah, same.
Same.
Also, I love, nobody quotes the Bible, hard quotes the Bible with, and do. Finishes it off with, but finishes it off with I believe?
I suppose.
Matthew, blah, blah. I think so. That's pretty close, I would guess. No. Just that whole part is ugh.
Yeah.
I love Alucard being like,
did you really just quote the Bible? You're dying to quote
is the Bible right in the room with us right now? Is that...
All right, continuing on. Tell me, what were Lisa's last words? She said, don't hate humans, or do not hate humans. If you cannot live with them, then at least do them no harm. For theirs is already a hard lot. She also said to tell you that she would love you for all eternity. Lisa, forgive me. Farewell, my son. And this is where
I did not hit her. I did not.
Lisa, no.
I did not. Okay, so here's the thing, man.
Pretty close, actually.
I just want to say this part is so frustrating for me.
How so?
I'll get to it in my final thoughts, but this, just really quick. It's so annoying that this whole thing could have been solved with Dracula just listening to Alucard at any point.
I don't think that's what would have happened. I think he would have still been in the whole revenge fuel. He would have been because I don't care. Humans have to die, and it's him dying is what's bringing him to this thing.
He wouldn't have been because he's already died once before.
He's died plenty of times
to Alucard's hands, and they didn't talk about it then. He waits, and then he's like. And he even makes a point where he was like, oh, did you forget what they did to your mom? And it's like, yeah, idiot. But during that moment is when she told me to not do the thing you're fucking doing. And then, but nope, I can't say that. But then wait until Dracula asks you. He's like, well, okay, since I'm on my deathbed for the second time, what did your mother say to you? And then he tells you, he's like, oh, I've been such an idiot. It's just so...
Dude.
But also with the whole, I'm glad you've come. We can now remake this world in, fire and chaos. Motherfucker, you couldn't have just teleported to the door when you saw me coming, ringing on the doorbell and been like, hey, Alucard, I'm actually so happy you're back. You know what we could do together?
Because I helped... You shouldn't be that happy because I helped you die last time.
This is ridiculous. It's just
or 2 times ago.
After he says farewell, cutscene shows the sky opening up again. This time the bright light shoots down, breaking down and removing the castle. After that little CG cutscene, this is where you get the possibility of 2 other endings. The great ending and the best ending. I said 3 last time, I got confused. So this is going to be based on... how much of the map coverage did you get? Now, I got, I think, 45%, 145%, I think was my ending map coverage. It still gave me the great ending, so...
I did a guide the entire time from, before the end, of the first...
So you got the best ending then, huh? So, you have to reach the threshold of 185% or more to get the best ending. And there's really not a huge difference.
What's the most possible? 200?
I couldn't tell you. I honestly don't know. Because the best ending just says 850 800, 185% plus to get the best ending.
Okay.
So anything above 185, you'll get the best ending.
I
I got the great ending because I didn't feel like map scraping and just doing all the stuff. I'm like, I just will look it up later. So the great ending is probably what I know. It's what I saw. It might have been what you guys saw as well. To where it's you, Maria, and then Richter outside. Richter kind of apologizes to you for having to kill your own father. You pretty much told him like, yeah, he's a deadbeat dad anyways. I was going to do it no matter what. And Maria greets you. You pretty much say, hey, I shouldn't be a part of this. I'm going to go for sleep for a very, very long time. Alucard runs away. And then Maria's like, Alucard. And then Richter's like, aren't you going to go after him? She's like, no, maybe one day I'll see him again. And then like I kind of have my moment. But until then, we'll just continue on. And Richter's like, oh, okay. Like very sad because obviously she's pretty much into Richter. If you get...
She's cooking.
Okay, she's cooking. Best ending would be essentially she runs after you, essentially. So she doesn't just let you go off. She runs after you so that you guys can live whatever small remainder of life she has compared to Alucard's remainder of life.
Yeah, I don't know what I missed. I didn't get that. I don't know what I missed because I thought I got everything, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just map coverage. That's all you need to get.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Is I think I got most of the map, but
if you want, you can load it up right now. It should show you in your load file what your percentage is.
Yeah.
No. You guys not gonna do that for me? Okay.
No.
All right.
It's not that. It's just
I don't
that
even have my Steam Deck in here, but also no.
Have already lent my copy to somebody else.
Fair enough.
Is the easiest way to say that.
Fair enough. And then after that scene happens, we get an incredibly sexy sax song for the end credits, which, by the way, is very like 90s, 80s, like sitcom ending credits. Because it has like the female vocals, like the sexy sax song going up. Like as soon as this happened, I texted Christian. I'm like, what the fuck? We got a sexy sax ending? Like rolling. It was very, very funny. I like the song. I just thought it was
It is out of play. It's almost the same as if like the Seinfeld bass would have kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Like like it literally that's kind of how it feels.
But it feels very like of that time of like the sitcoms back then of those endings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Jake's actual recommendation for the Video Game Book Club. We will not be doing many of these non-linear games. This is kind of a one-off deal. We'll keep them in our lists, but it's just easier to keep track and time and stuff like that of what we can do. But all in all, I mean, we can kind of go over how we feel in the end about this game. If you guys want to go ahead and take it, I'll kind of leave my opinion for last.
Do you want me to start, Christian?
Up to you. I can go. You can go. However you want to do it is fine.
I'll start because okay. So I know I jokingly
and you end on your rating, right? We're ending on our ratings.
Yeah. I know I jokingly like gave the first part shit. I had my complaints with the first part, but as a whole, I really enjoyed the first part. I thought it was very good. I think I see some of the stuff come through in that first part, like that lends me to understand like why people held this game in high regard.
Sure.
And like why it kind of stood the test of time, became like known as a Vania part of the Metroidvania. I believe that like everyone that rates this game so highly got the bad ending and quit before the castle came down upside down. Okay. Because if it did end there, this game's like a 4. But then the castle comes upside down and it completely wrings all of your enjoyment out of you for the next 6 hours. Because like I shouldn't say
Jake has just pulled the car over.
And Christian, I know, and Jake, don't hate me, and I'll explain my thoughts. And look, at the end of the day, as Christian and I talked about today, there's a great reason why there's a million games out there. It's like some people like to play Madden. I hate Madden. Some people like to play Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is not for me, right? Like everybody has their thing, and I appreciate that. So I'm not going to hate this game. I also think that this game, to this day, has some of the best music of any game ever. Like every area had a banger. Christian and I were on the exact same place. Like when the second area comes down and you go into it, it sounded like a trial from like one of the cloisters in Final Fantasy X.
This OST is a 10 out of 10.
It's amazing.
It is. This is one of, I would say, probably top 3 soundtracks I have ever heard in a video game.
It's incredible.
I'm putting it up there with Persona games. It's incredible how good it is.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Like one of those where I would download it and just have it.
I let it rip all the time. Yep.
Workout music.
But beyond that, like what really frustrated me with the second part is, like I because I did so much map scraping from the video before you go to the second part, I went in as powerful as possible, and you would think that there would be a curve where you like just start rolling through stuff in the beginning. You're like, okay, these get a little bit harder, but like I'm so powerful now as I collect and continue to get stuff, like I'm gonna be powerful. Which is kind of the purpose of why I went back to get everything, because like I thought that would just make my next 6 hours faster. And it doesn't. And that's really frustrating. And it's not, it's only because they wanted to make the playthrough last longer is what I felt like. And I felt that way with the enemies. Like, I told Christian this earlier, there's a room leading up to Shaft. It's a hallway. And it's like, you're pretty powerful by this point. You run in there, and there's like a gold knight. And you're like, bang, 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 3 hits. Cool. He falls, you run 3 steps forward, and immediately there's the same looking knight, but he's blue this time. And it's like, bang, bang, bang. But then bang, bang, bang again. So now you have to hit him 6 times, and he falls. And then you run a little bit further, and there's a third thing that pops up. And it's like, I can't hit him 3, I don't hit him 6, I hit him like 9 times. And it's just like, just to be like, oh, it's getting hard. You're about to have a big battle. It's getting harder out here. Like, you gotta hit him more. It's like, I mean, I guess. Like, I guess, right? So there's things like that. The legitimately flipping it upside down and everything being slightly too high to just double jump was like honest to God my biggest frustration. And I think to Christian's point from last week when he talked, like, maybe I just prefer the speed of a Metroid game versus this, because like everything about the second area just slowed me down, and that's not what I want. Like, I want to move quickly, I want to beat things up, I want to attack and use my magic and explore this castle, but the whole way it's pushing against you, saying slow down, whether that's the amount of enemies in a hallway, whether that's, you know, making abilities hard to find or learn, like the bat dash and other stuff, or just like forcing you to use your power jump. Like, everything is just slowing me down. So from a personal aspect, it was like every room I progressed to was just turns you off. The Bishi area I thought was dumb. Again, like, why are we just adding things to add things for no reason? It doesn't add context. And then finally, I appreciated the idea of the RPG aspects. I do not think it worked for me. You level up in games. There's 2 ways to really get powerful in a game, right? Like, you level up, and as you get powerful through the physical level up, now you can overcome an obstacle you couldn't pass a minute ago. But in a game like this, you don't level up, you find items or abilities that help you progress past something you couldn't progress a moment ago. And if that's the type of game I'm playing, it kind of made the level up feel pointless and like it didn't seem to add to my experience at all. So I just got the feeling of like, if it doesn't add to the experience, then why have it? Like, I can just rely on my abilities, I can rely on my weapons, like, and being able to pick and choose those in different combinations, which I think did work, was better than just like, hey, you got a level, woo, right? So if I have to rate it as a whole, not just the first half, because if I would have got the bad ending, it would have been pretty high. Jake, this game's not for me, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna give it a 2, because I think a 1.5 is unfair. I'm going to give it a 2. And I honestly never want to play this game again. Okay. My favorite part about this game... 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Yes. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. The most interesting part to me, and this is so stupid because it's attention to detail, is I really appreciated how the load point on the memory card in the beginning changed depending on where you were in the castle.
Like that. I missed that.
Yeah.
The memory card image.
Unfortunately, that detail didn't translate to the game in any way. Like, and what I mean is, like, you put a lot of attention to detail there, but, like, not a lot of attention to detail in your writing. And if I were to pick and choose, I would have probably picked the writing. That's just me. With that being said, comparing to Lords of Shadow, it's automatically higher because there's no Chupacabra, which is mind-blowing because the bestiary has 97 things in it, and none of them are a Chupacabra. So it's already higher than Lord of Shadow. Barely. Just barely.
How pissed would you have been if, like, you get to, like, the reverse dungeon and Chupacabra comes in there, like, and takes away your power for, like, half the level.
And you gotta chase it throughout that room? Yeah, fuck you.
I would have turned it off.
Yeah,
and I would have been like, I did not finish
yeah.
this game. Didn't finish it.
Yeah,
No, I mean, barely isn't fair. It is a significantly better game than that. And I do know that, like, there were aspects where I can see why people rate it so highly, and I think there are things that maybe worked for the time that just don't translate good now. But as a whole, it did not hit for me, which is why I rated it low. It's my personal rating, so that's that.
Yeah, so I'll start with the good parts, and then, I've already mentioned it, but it bears repeating. This OST is incredible.
Absolutely.
Legitimately, it is one of the best soundtracks that has ever been in a video game, and I think it is, it's insane. And not only that, but the person who did the soundtrack for Lords of Shadow, since we're comparing the two, should be drawn and quartered in comparison to, like, what was happening here. Yeah. So, yeah, that's great. I think there's other things I think that worked that I thought were good ideas that I liked. Like, I think having I like the weapon system. I think running around, finding different weapons that can be rare drops off enemies, and it creates that sort of water cooler moment of, like, people talking about this game and then being like, I found this, and it was like, what do you mean you found that? I was like, oh, well, it just dropped from this enemy. And it's like,
there's a Medusa shield that has a super low drop rate, but it will freeze enemies for you and bosses.
Yeah. And, like, some of those ones are actually really cool. Like, some of these are just treasures that you can find. But, like, I thought the, the walk armor was cool. It's like, it has better defense the more
map you have discovered.
More map you have discovered. It's like, that's fucking cool. Like, what a cool item.
I think, like, every 6 rooms it gives you 1 defense. Because I was doing the math at one point. I'm like, okay, is the walk armor better than my diamond armor? And then I did because in your save file, it'll show you how many rooms you've discovered.
Yeah.
And it's every 6 rooms you get 1 point of defense. And it makes it work more than anything.
That conversation you're having is why I think that is a better system than the level up system. Like, just
right, so that's
remove the level and do the gear. The gear's great.
So that's what I was going to get. So, like, yeah, I think that stuff is really, really cool. I think this sprite work is out of this world incredible, and I think it still holds up.
I didn't say that, but it's on point, and the girl, like, Marie, she has cake. I'm just saying, she's
gorgeous. Yeah, even the ones
people there with cake.
Even the ones I don't care about, like, even the ones that I thought were, like, you know, like the Gormarath or whatever, the one that I hated.
Yeah.
Even his, like, the quality of sprite, everything, it looks good. Like, all the quality of every single just animation and sprite work, I think, is all made just with the utmost care that I think is just fantastic. I hated the level up system. I didn't like it. I thought it added absolutely zero value, and it was there just to be there, and like it make your health point go up by 1, and then you'd be like, sick, I guess. Like, you'd be going and you'd be fighting something and be like, level up, and you're like, okay, and moving on, and you just keep going. Like, it was more significant to me to find the health upgrade items or the magic upgrade items, like those different things, or the heart upgrade items, I should say. It was more significant finding those, and I felt like a bigger jump finding those than I did just like your random level up or whatever. I think some of the RPG mechanics just in general, like when they add them in, I was just like, this just feels like it's here because the creator of the game like just liked RPGs and was like, we got to have a level up system. Like, people feel stronger when they have a level up, so we got to have a level up. But like, I don't think it actually adds anything to this game. I think the upside down castle portion was probably the worst decision they could have made. Like, I think that section, the second section of this, I don't even, I like the idea of saying, like, hey, if you went and fully explored the second area and figured out the secret, or the first area and figured out these secrets, here's what opens up is a whole other section of the game. I think that'd have been, I'm great with that. I would have preferred a castle that was all of a sudden covered in hell stuff. Like, the same thing, but it's just like, the walls are, like, even if it was the same exact map that we just had, but it was like, oh, there's fucking fire and brimstone everywhere, and all the backgrounds have changed, and all the assets look different a little bit, and it's just like, but it's the same map layout. I would have preferred that to what we got. It was like, man, like, and I mean this, like, how I feel about it, truly, that I think anything else would have been better than what they did. Like, you go through the clock tower area and you're like, God, this area fucking sucks. And then the game is like, you know what's extra fun? Doing the same fucking thing with worse enemies upside down. You're like, is it though? Like, and it's basically, they're just like, to the point where every single item placement in that castle, upside down castle, is the exact same as it was. You get different items, to be fair, but the exact placement of them is still the exact same. You have the enemy placements and things, like enemies that you know, like, they're different enemies, but they're still there. Or sometimes it's, hey, do you remember in this hallway where there was 4 Medusa heads? Now there's 12. And you're like, okay, who was asking for that? No one? Right. That's why I thought, like, it's just like, it was like a decision that as I kept playing through and kept looking through the map, I was like, who is this for? Like, I can't, I'm sure there's some people who were like, I love this idea, and that's great, and more power to you. But for me, I just was like, God, this fucking sucks. Like, I did not like it. I think that towards the end, outside of Gormarath, most of the bosses, like, I flew through, but it just felt like you get to the point where, like, for me, I had so many hearts, or so much health by the time I got down to Dracula, that, like, even the big moves that he was doing, there was a couple that I was just like, I can eat this. It'll be fine. Like, I got 800 health. Like, it's cool.
That, like, and the walk armor helps you so much. Like, he was still doing, like, 3-5 damage. Maybe 9 was, like, a maximum sometimes. But he's not doing a significant amount of damage because I got that walk armor, because I was scraping the first section of the castle. Yeah. And it's just very powered.
And I'm sure that's a, like, part of the power curve or whatever, but it was like, I'm sure that this fight is supposed to be more stressful, but because I got to the point where I was at when I got up to it, I was like, yeah, you're going to get smoked, my friend. That's about it for you. And we've been talking about it this whole time, but I think that this game's story would have been better with a completely silent protagonist. Like, not silent protagonist, but silent everybody.
No
like,
voiceover,
I think,
or just no story, period?
No story. Like, I think I would have rather, like, had the narrator in the beginning, like, the title, the word scroll be like, in the year blah 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 with Dracula. Da, 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 da,
Alucard's
like,
here,
cool.
So is Maria, but Richter's there for some reason.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Explaining
Sweet.
it to you rather
like,
than doing story with characters.
Like, I would prefer, like, I would have preferred that, because I still, like, I'm still laughing at the intro with Richter and Dracula, where, what is a man? And he just throws a whole, like, you're like, and like, the Bible quote, and the weird nonsense that I had with Dracula and Alucard and the mother and that whole thing. Like, I just was like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, and it's just my opinion. It would have been better with just nothing. Like, I would have rather a fight, and then a scroll came through and had been like, and Alucard did it. He succeeded, and the Lord of Darkness was sealed away forever. His father perished once again, and him, Maria, and Richter all had the coolest room with they made Richter his own little cuck chair, and he watched Alucard and Maria do all sorts of stuff.
I wasn't gonna do it. You can do it.
And there you go. Like that's I honestly I would have preferred that. I think that it would have been better. And it's just so weird to have some of the like these sections and then you get to them and then like a thing happens and it's just some of the most goofy ass dialogue that I've heard in a video game. And I'm only comparing it to games that were out around that time. And even then I was just like, man, what are we doing? Like,
I think if you were silent, if you were silent and still did it, I think it would have been better than the bad voice acting that we got, because at least you could go, you could have got localization issue, right? If it was all silent, you could have been like localization.
Oh, like just text, sure.
Yeah, just text. But the voice acting. I'm saying
erase the text. Yeah.
I know you are.
And also, their mouths aren't moving, so you don't necessarily have to do the exact same phrase that was in Japan to English. But back then, it was copy and paste a lot of times.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't. It's just it did not resonate with me. I will say to the game's credit, some of this dialogue will stay with me for the rest of my life. Like I will
for sure.
Yeah, I not for the reasons that I think they wanted, but I will remember some of Dracula's lines forever. Like, so there's that. I think. The last thing I'll say is that this game has convinced me that I think I like Castlevania in its anime format more than I like Castlevania in its anything else format.
Very cool.
So I was thinking about this. If Jake is still listening, this is to Jake here.
Oh, no, he's driving to your house to kill you. Yeah.
I know. It's like, it sounds like we're shitting on this, and I was, but I still appreciate the pick because I've never really played Castlevania games, but I like Castlevania anime, and I know because in the areas we work and the things we like I've known about Castlevania for a long time. It's
one of the most applauded games of all time.
Yeah, and without this game book club, I would not have played this. So for anybody else listening too that's like, I should recommend a game, but then they're gonna shit on it, that's okay, because we shat on my pick of Beyond Good and Evil and other stuff.
Shit on most of your picks, as a matter of fact.
That's fair, but I think that's okay because I enjoyed, at least I can say I played it, and now I can have an opinion because I played it. So I appreciate that, even though it wasn't for me. And I personally think
walk up to a table, people talking. Hey, you guys talking about Castlevania over here? Yeah, cool. Yeah, you trash.
Hot take real quick.
Yeah. Let me ask, which part do you like? The first half or the second half? It's kind of like New and Old Testament. The old part, real good. The second part, real bad. Anyway, but yes, so I was thinking about that as you were talking, you two other people and Jake, thank you for the pick because I enjoyed it. Now I can have an opinion. Unfortunately, my opinion isn't very high of this one. But like you guys said, a lot of my picks are not very high either, so it is what it is.
I mean, so just to end it there, I think if I would have, had it ended the first part, I would have felt a lot better. That second half really, really drags it down. But I think, me personally, I would say I couldn't go. I can't go as low as out. I think as low as Alex went is extreme.
That's including his distaste for this genre as well. So it's not just based on quality. It's also he doesn't like this type of game.
It takes because I do play them, but it takes a lot to hook me. I played 9 Souls. I've done some others because Christian made that comment to me. I had to go back and there were 6 or 7 that I picked out. They're like, no, these are Metroidvanias, but it really has to grab me. They are not my typical game of choice.
I still think it's above average game, even with the back half not being my cup of tea. And so with that, I think I'm still gonna go 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I think it's above average, and the parts that I do like, I think, help keep it above average throughout the whole journey. And if I was rating it on the OST alone, it's a 5 out of 5. I mean, the OST
sure.
is just
Oh,
incredible.
100%.
OST and sprites,
and-
best of the best.
Yeah. Compared to Lords of Shadow, yeah, I mean it.
It doesn't.
Lords of
alone.
Shadow is a 0. I do not like that video game. I think it is awful. I hate there's not a redeeming quality
There
about Lords of
wasn't
Shadow.
anything.
It's wild that the
redeeming,
sequel
no.
is known as to be even worse than that one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild that now playing both, that the dialogue from that game, which is far newer than this, like 1996 or no,
7.
yeah, it's probably
97.
Anyway, it like the dialogue is equally as bad in both versions, and at least one of them has an excuse of being 20
you know
years
what?
old.
I can't even go that far because at least Symphony of the Night made me laugh in certain parts. I did not smile during Lords of Shadow, so that's take that for what it is. I think that game is it's not for me.
It's trash.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Preston.
So I thoroughly enjoy this game. I'm not the biggest Vania guy because I tend to I might take a little break from a game and then come back to a Vania. It's like, where do I go? What am I doing? This one, I could easily see myself coming back to it at a later time and knowing where I'm going because you're just looking through the map. It's not as much as like a Metroid to where it's like, okay, I need the ice beam for this door. I need this for that door. Well, did I pick up this one? Or what was that door? What I need for that door over there? I can't remember. This is just more straightforward when it comes to that. Yes, you're still exploring all the rooms. Yes, you're still picking up items here and there that will help you get to different locations. But the locations you haven't been to are grayed out, and you get the map, and then you know where you're going to be able to go once you get the new power up. Like, oh, got the bat form. Like, well, I see all these gray out sections above these areas. I'm like, I'm going to go there and fly around. I'm going to repeat what you guys said. Soundtrack, sprites, 10 out of 10. I actually thoroughly enjoy this game. There's outside the couple hallways, outside the 1 or 2 bosses that I had a little bit of trouble with. I just had a good time running through this castle, going through bosses. The level up system, I felt my strength get better and stronger as I went through. I could see the numbers, they're there. They're kind of letting me know that I'm getting stronger. And I was, I go through one section, those green bosses take me 3 or 5 hits. I come back there through some backtracking, and I'm still, as I leveled up, I'm now taking them down in 1 or 2 hits. I'm feeling more powerful. I'm feeling stronger. I feel the level up working for me. And the nice part about this compared to like a Metroid game, because this one has leveling up, if I'm like, shit, forgot this fucking item I need over here, or I need to go back for this other door, I am leveling up as I am backtracking. So I feel like I got more progression through this than I would if like, oh, with a Metroid, I can unlock this one door, I need to go over there for an item, I gotta backtrack all the way over there. I'm not doing anything outside of just, maybe finding an extra door or 2 with the new item I got. But with leveling up, it just makes me... It makes me hate backtracking less because I'm still having some type of progress. Weapons and all that kind of stuff are still fun. Did you guys ever get the combat knife? Did you guys ever use it? Because I feel like I thought it was like the greatest weapon in the world, but I don't think you guys touched it.
I didn't.
I did use it. I just
knife.
was. I preferred the distance for the chakram.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked and I did not. I had like the broadsword and a bunch of other things, but I did not have the combat
So I'm wondering.
knife,
I was curious if that was like a rare drop or not. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a rare drop. I don't know if there's a rare drop. I saw it in the guide fall off of one of the enemies in like the spiral staircase where the horses and knights were. I just never got it to drop on killing those. So.
Yeah, going through all that, yes, the dialogue is cheesy and not well done. The voice acting leaves something to be desired. But there was something I felt like endearing about the shitty writing and the cheesy dialogue. Something about it just made me enjoy it. Like if it didn't feel like it took itself too seriously, but serious enough to where I could laugh at it, and that to me is enjoyable. And not to mention going from another game that I'm playing this week, which is Crisis Core, which I'm hearing just a shit ton of awful dialogue the entire time I'm playing that game, compared to this, to where like out of these, what you said, 12 hours that we played this game, Alex? Out of the 12 hours that we played this game, we had 3 to 5 minutes of actual dialogue.
That's all of the dialogue in the game.
Exactly, which means like, yes, it's bad.
It shot 100 for bad. 100%. It literally, if it was baseball or basketball, they would be Hall of Fame first ballot for how bad.
but you don't get a whole
Like,
lot of
how
it, right?
accurate.
Like, I'm like of the 12 hours that we played, that's like a couple minutes of the entire time that we played it. Like, it's not something that I'm sitting there like, man, these motherfuckers won't stop talking and they sound horrible and the writing's bad. I'm like, no, I mean, I had to deal with it a little bit at the beginning. I had to deal with it maybe once or twice here, like for 5 seconds with Maria. And overall, I'm not forced to like deal with bad writing and dialogue. It's just, it's a little funny, maybe because it's of the time, like it's an older game. I can kind of laugh at it. Maybe that's a little bit different for me than what it would have been back in the day if I would have done. Like, man, this is fucking trash. But I don't think I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think there was a whole lot of dialogue and voice acting in those video games back then in like 97 and stuff like that. So, it's overall, I really enjoyed the game. I liked it a lot. This is not just me sucking up and brown nose and Jake just because I fucked up his pick. Hey, guess what? He got 2 Castlevania games on me because I fucked up.
We'll never know.
Never know.
We'll never know.
So you catch me like 5 years later, like talking about Symphony Night. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of trash. I'm like, are you serious? And you pull up the old episode. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I felt super powerful. I felt like I was having a great time outside of like maybe 2 hallways and like 3 bosses. And I think I'm even going a little bit further than that. Maybe like 1 or 2 bosses. But I really liked it. I really, really liked it. I'd say as a score, I'm going to give it about a 4 out of 5. I'm not going to get a perfect score because there are things in there like those few hallways, those few bosses, not to mention the fact that I was steamrolling through that. Now, don't get me wrong, I felt really good while doing it, but a lot of those bosses ended up being nothing. They're bosses like the Frankenstein boss. This person put work into the Frankenstein boss and how it looked and how it was going to play in, and I went through there and just stabbed the fuck out of it like a psychopath and killed it before it could even do any of the cool animations I was supposed to do. Like that was the experience I had with a lot of the bosses. Now, yes, I could have switched it up, had a different weapon, kind of done something. And I as soon as they announced Castlevania Requiem for PC, if that ever comes out on PC, I am 1000% playing this game again. Because, for starters, new voice acting. They replaced the voice acting. But just to see what the new stuff that they did with the game. Because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could easily see myself sitting down to do like a remaster remake of this game. Very easily. So I would say 4 out of 5. The small things with the dialogue, the uneasiness the second half of the game gave me, like just physically, like in my gut, as I was playing through like the first half of that second upside down dungeon. The almost too easiness of it a little bit. But everything else, I think it was great. I think it was phenomenal. This is one of the greatest games of all time. I wouldn't consider it a perfect game, but I was fucking... It lived up to the expectations I've heard throughout the decades of me hearing about this game. Like it lives up to it for me.
If it's one of the greatest of all time, and you feel that way, would you bump it to a 4.5?
Dude, this entire time we were talking, I was thinking about putting it to a 4.5. Like it's. I kind of want to. I kind of do. I kind of want to. I kind of do.
I do. It's your rating. Do your thing.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5.
No way.
Because
there is no way.
You're not gonna get mad at me about a 0.5. Fuck off. Like it's the small writing stuff. There's not a whole lot of it.
That thing is like a 9, like a damn near perfect game.
Let's say you do what Christian said about the writing and dialogue for the story. You do that. You make the leveling up just a little bit nicer and maybe not as easy for me to cheese, and it becomes a perfect game. The sound, the music is there for perfect. Everything is there for perfect outside of the writing and a couple of the level design parts of it. But other than that, I fucking love this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited because I kind of want to try out other Castlevania games now. Like I've done Bloodstained.
I swear to God,
games.
if you pick another one of these,
I'm not gonna do it to you, sweetie. Don't worry about it, baby girl. I'm not gonna bring you one of these games. I'm not gonna bring games I know that you're gonna hate yourself for.
Oh.
All right. So that was our second part of Symphony of the Night. Again, Jake, thank you for the pick. Anybody out there listening, keep them coming. We have not forgotten about the other listener pick that we had about.
As a matter of fact, I was going to tell you guys
Black
that game just went on sale. It's $15 on Steam right now.
All right, so we'll look at that. Yeah, the thing that's been putting us off, I think we all talked about it. It was $60, and I'm sorry, I just don't want to pay $60 for a Call of Duty game. But we have not forgotten about it. So if you're thinking like, hey, I want to recommend something, please do.
Steph still has a couple games in the can, and I'm ready to fire off once my turn comes around. But yeah, if you guys got ideas, like even if it's a game that's too long, or I'm not saying too long, longer than what we usually do.
We'll make it work.
If it's give it to us because sooner or later we're going to run out of games that have those prerequisites. So we're going to need games sooner or later. Give them to us. We'll put them on the list. We'll do them one of these days.
Yeah. All right. Well, Christian, then you, my friend, are up.
I do have a pick. So I've been thinking about this one for a little bit, and I'm very excited. So this came. I was thinking about this. I was manifesting it, and I was like, I appreciated when I was doing the Metro games. I liked that it was a full series, right? Like I said, straight up, my next 3 picks are going to be all 3 Metro games, and we're going to go through them.
Can do no series.
I did happen to tell you yesterday. I was like, on my walk with the dogs, I was like, I kind of want to play Metro. Like, it was good. Those were good picks.
It was cool. But it was also, part of it is like, hey, seeing how these still hold up, but then also just experiencing them and filling that out, and I like that. And so. Yeah, and so I'm doing another franchise pick. Okay. So we're calling out to the stands. I'm calling out the next 5 picks.
Oh shit! Jeez. So year plus probably.
Yes. So I'm just telling everybody now what this is. So when you know my turn's coming around, you know what's coming, so everybody can see it.
It's the Tales series. Let's go. 12 games.
No, I would not do that because this first one would take the half of this year. No, I wouldn't do that. We're gonna do Metal Gear Solid.
Okay. So Alex, you know how you hate Vanias?
Yep.
How do you think I feel about stealth games?
So
and we're doing the series, baby. We're doing the series.
No.
I told Christian I was so angry about this Castlevania video game today. I told Christian, I swear to God, if he rates this game at an unbelievable 4.5, I am going to tell him I'm going to forgo my next pick and do Christian's second game back to back.
So it's stealth on stealth? No, it's I'll give them all the gentleman's try for sure.
I won't do that.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. We will not be playing Metal Gear Solid 5 for a multitude of different reasons. One, I think all 3 of us have tried it at random points. It's also unfinished. Like Kojima was, fired halfway through that, or towards the end of it. Either way, so we're not doing that. We're going to be doing 1, 2, 3. It is, and it's not. Yeah, it's just
It's a weird one.
But we're going to be doing, and it's a prequel of sorts. Like it's
we're doing
like
1 through
fits
4.
into the timeline very weird. It really doesn't. We're doing 1 through 4 and then Rising. We are going to be ending on Rising, which is my favorite one. So we're ending there. I also want to say, Express, I know how you feel about stealth games. I do. I'm just going to put it out there. The stealth requirements get less and less for each game to the point where, especially like in the 4th one, you have fully automatic weapons that you can just open up with people on. Yeah. So
I know the cheesier, weirder it gets, the better it gets for that. And also, like, if I don't mind going back into games that I think I might not like, because how long has it been since I've played one of these Metal Gear games? Like, it's just the same thing with my food habits. Like, I was never a big fan of green peppers and stuff like that, but nowadays I fucking love that shit. I put it on my food, so it's just, as an adult, I am more than willing to go back and.
But I have been in different arguments with people about Metal Gear Solid 4 over the years about how I still think it holds up. I think it's good, or not. I shouldn't say holds up.
Well, then why don't we just start with that one?
Huh?
Then why don't we just start with that one?
Because it wouldn't make any sense. But I want to just like see, especially with Kojima always being in the zeitgeist and all the others, like I just want to go back and be like, you know what? How does Metal Gear hold up from front to back?
I'm excited.
Now, I will say I am planning on purchasing the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. So I already have. So here's the thing. I already have
that in place.
On our Steam library right now. We have 1 through 3 from their master collection they released on PC. It's already there right now. So we are going to use those. That being said, if the 3 remake hits by the time that pick comes around, we're going to play that one.
All right. Okay.
Just you're good.
I'm excited about this, only because I played 5. That was my first real experience through
Yeah.
like a Metal Gear Solid game. But I do recall playing 1 as a kid, but never making like I didn't have a Sony console. Like I was a
Yeah.
Nintendo kid growing up and other stuff. I think it was my cousin or my uncle that actually had it. Same person actually played the NES Castlevania games with. But I remember as a kid. Oh, look at you!
If I need to, I got 2 and 3 right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Nice. Cool.
As a kid, I recall not like getting too frustrated at the whole like crawling around that top down kind of view and getting caught.
But I was also a dumb
I've
fucking
never
kid.
Finished.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So
I
like,
handled
I'm
that.
excited to go back. I'm excited to go back to this and see what we think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
try and keep up.
It'll
with
be
this
good.
story.
So I'm excited. And then obviously, so 4, the situation with 4 is that it is rumored to be in the next Master Collection, and it will make its way to PC. So it should be there by the time that we get to it in this role. Sure. If not, similar to how we did with Castlevania, we will all just break out our PS3s, put in that copy, and be good to go. So,
do we think 4 will come out this year?
You can probably.
I think. So go ahead.
I think it might. I don't know off the top of my head, but it might be in like the classic collection as well. So if you have to, we can just do the classic collection.
No, I was just wondering like if it was gonna come out this year.
So 4 is rumored to be part of the second. So like I said, on Steam, we have the Master Collection right there that got released I think last year, and that's 1, 2, and 3 plus the original NES games and some other stuff. It is rumored that the second Master Collection will have like the PSP like Peace Walker and Ghost Bay, all this other stuff, but then 4 will be part of that one. So, like I said,
would that collection fall into the category of like a remake or remaster?
Probably
it would be a remaster.
Yeah.
Existing franchise.
It usually does. Like they usually. Make
Oh
it look better.
yeah, the way for the league, yeah, it would be considered. You would be able to draft that as a regular game.
Okay,
It's by itself. Yeah.
just asking.
Yeah.
Just asking.
Yeah, a lot of times those remasters, they also make it like more playable for like this day and age.
Yeah.
So there is improvements outside of just looking better.
So
Right.
because I think I have the OG, and we have the family version on Steam, which is the best experience to
Probably
play
collection.
on? Is it the collection?
It's the collection on PC. So now, if
Okay.
for whatever reason you want to go, it's going to be the same thing. It just is going to look a little bit prettier on this one. But that's, however
no
you
reason
feel
not
like
to.
doing it is what you want to do.
No, that's what I'll play.
Yeah, the only difference will be that if the remake of 3 comes out by the time we get to MGS3, then we are going to play that one.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
like,
yeah, 100%.
hands down.
So-
we're going to.
They just had a
For
trailer
our
recently.
listeners, then, how far are we going?
Right.
in
So
the
we are
first
going to
playthrough.
do the first, and I was toying with this about making it 3 or 4 parts. I don't know, I'm going to err on the side of caution. We'll do 4 parts. If it takes us less time, that's fine because Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out, so it probably
We
works
need
out
time
better
to play
for
other
everybody.
games, yes.
That's a fact. So we're going to do the first 4 missions. So we're going to do the docks, the heliport, the tank hangar, and then hangar B1 cell block. When you get to hangar level 2 armory, that's it. You're done.
Okay. All right. Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to this playthrough.
For sure.
It's a big dedication. You just called out there, so it's going to be a lot. I'm excited
Yep.
for it. But with that, thank you for hanging out with us, everybody. Special thanks to Jake for his official pick, even though it took us a while to get to it. Symphony of the Night. It was fun. It was
great.
At least it created a good conversation, which I always appreciate.
It made me deepen my appreciation for the Metroid series.
You got to experience what some consider to be one of the best games of all time.
That's true.
So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. Catch us back next week. And with that, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it!
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com @thetestingroom or Twitch TV /testingroompod. To to leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram at testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.